Good morning, welcome to Morning Maths Day 41. Let's get started on day 41. Question 1, Year 3 level. Value of the 8 in 782. 782. Units, also known as ones, tens and hundreds. What's the value of the 8? I'm sure you've told me already. It's 8 tens. 8 tens. Sorry, my writing might be a bit messy today. I'm on a different mouse, on a different computer today. So writing's a bit messy at first. 8 tens, which is worth 80. That's question 1. Time for question 2. Pause if you need to copy that. Question 2, it says add. So we'll add. We will plus 375. Add 375 to 283. Line it up carefully so that it's lined up down the right, which is that side. Line it up down there. It lines up down the left as well, doesn't it? We'll do our addition. 5 plus 3 is 8. 7 plus 8 is 15. There's a little 1. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 1 is 6. Plus makes things bigger, so 375 got bigger. Became 658. Sometimes I like to check the units column. 5 plus 3 is definitely 8. Right, let's go on to question 3. Subtract means take away, doesn't it? It means minus. Subtract means minus. 246. I wonder why I'm doing this in red. Do you know why I'm doing this in red? There's a reason. Subtract 246 from 437. Hopefully you're seeing that I've done it in red because I've done it incorrectly. This is not right. You can't put the smallest number on the top. 246 take away 437. That's not going to work. You can't do it like that. You have to put the biggest number on the top. And 437, even though it was written after 246, is actually the biggest. So we need to put that at the top. 437 minus 246. Pen went a bit small there. See what that's like. That's a lot bigger. So that's not going to work. You need to make sure in takeaways, when you're doing the column method, that you have the biggest number on the top. And it's not always the number that comes first in the question. You've got to make sure you know the biggest number and put that at the top. 7 take away 6 is 1. 3 take away 4 we can't do. Borrow from there. Goes down to a 3. 13 take away 4 is 9. 3 take away 2 is 1. If you started doing the top version, where you'd put the smallest number on the top, in the end you'd get stuck, it would stop working and it wouldn't work out. So make sure you always put the biggest number at the top in subtraction. We're on question 4. Pen's still quite big. 4 already, that was quick. So 42 times 5. I'm going to do this in 2 different ways. 42 times 5. I get the colour code in. 40, that's 4 tens, 40. And you don't, of course, have to colour code yours. 2 units, like this. So I'm going to do 40 times 5, and I'm going to do 2 times 5. 40 times 5, and I'm also going to do 2 times 5 to get my final answers. What colour was that? 2 times 5. What's 40 times 5? Well, it's like 4 times 5. 4 times 5 is 20. Makes a 0, but then we need to place this other 0. I hope you can see that. It says 200. It's going off the edge of the page a bit. It says 200. 40 times 5 is 200. And 2 times 5, well, that's easy. That's just 10. I'm going to line it up, though, underneath my 200, because then I can add them together at the end and get the final answer. 200 plus 10, well, you know what that is. It's 210. 210. So 42 times 5 is 210. That's one method. We might call it the partitioning method for doing this. I'm going to do the grid method quickly underneath. I've run out of squares, but you'll get the idea. 42 times 5 becomes 40 and 2, timesing it by 5. Multiplying it, I should say, by 5. Timesing is not actually a word. 4 times 5 is 20. Place a 0 is 200. And 2 times 5 goes in this box, this part of the grid, which is 10. And of course, 200 added to 10 is definitely going to be 210. So our answer 100% is 210. Let's move on to question 5. This is division. 136 divided by 4. also known as 136 shared between 4. You know, like 136 sweets shared between 4 people. Or you might say, how many 4s in 136? They're all ways of talking about division. So we could sing our 4s up to 136, but as you probably know, we'll run out of the 4 times table song, because it ends on 48, doesn't it? So it's going to go a long way past. We could start at 0 on a number line, and we could jump our way up in 4s to 136, but that would take a long, long, long time. So this is the kind of question that I would use the bus stop method for, because it can deal with things that would take so long to do, jumping up along a number line. But either way, all we're doing every time, whatever method we use, is we're looking for how many 4s fit into 136. Also known as 136 divided by 4. But this little bus stop method can solve the harder, bigger questions for us. So how many 4s fit into 1? 4 is too big to fit into 1. So we put 0 and carried a 1. How many 4s fit into 13? I sing my 4s, but I mustn't go past 13. So I go 4, 8, 12, 16. I've already gone too far. I mustn't go past 13. 4, 8, 12. That is 3. Remainder 1. And then how many 4s fit into 16 at the end? 4, 8, 12, 16. That is 4. So this bus stop method, we're really preparing you for year 4. We've got the answer of 34. We're preparing you for year 4 with it. You might not quite get the hang of the bus stop method in year 3. As long as you know, as I always say, the main thing you understand in year 3 is that when we're doing 136 divided by 4, we're sharing out 136, it could be sweets, between 4, it could be people. So you're dividing things out, you're sharing things out, you're seeing how many times you can get 4 in 136. So 34 is our answer, and we're on year 4 level stuff. So question 6, how many hundreds in 6,000? How many hundreds in 6,000? All right, 6,000. Units, tens, hundreds. We've got to hundreds already. That would be thousands. How many hundreds in it? 60 hundreds. That's the answer, 60 hundreds. 60 hundreds in 6,000. That means that 60 times 100 would be 6,000. And question 7. We've got decreased this time. Do you know what decreased means? It means going down, it means take away. Biggest number at the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. Take away 589. Be careful with your lining up. It's lining up down the right. So that means you have a gap here. And we'll do a takeaway, which will need lots of help in this one, because 4 take away 9 we can't do. 3 goes down to a 2. Borrow a 1. 14 take away 9, that is 5. 2 take away 8 we can't do. 2 goes down to a 1, get a 1. 12 take away 8, that is 4. 1 take away 5, again we can't do. This goes down to a 0. 1 here. 11 take away 5 is 6. That was quite a difficult question because you had to do a lot of borrowing or taking, whatever you like to call it. 645 because minus makes things smaller. So the top number ends up smaller when we get to the answer. Let's move on to, I didn't put a question number, did I? It doesn't help much now, but that was 7. We'll move on now to question 8, a money question. £3.45 divided by 3. £3.45, let's write that neater. 3, if I can. £3.45 divided by 3. I'll use the bus stop to do this in year 4. We're sharing £3.45 between 3 people. How many 3s in 3? Exactly 1, because 3 is 3. Don't forget the decimal point. It just lines up. Nothing else, it just lines up. How many 3s in 4? Well, I sing my 3s, I mustn't go past 4. 3, 6, 9, I've already gone too many. So I just go 3, that's all I can do, and it's 1. But I sang to 3, and that says 4, which actually means there's 1 remaining as well. How many 3s in 15? That'll work if you sing it. 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. Count on your fingers, you'll have, like me, 5 fingers. How many 3s in 15 is 5? So 1.15, the answer is £1.15. So you could share £3.45 between 3 people, and each person would get £1.15 each. Question 9. Do you know what the product means? the product of 45 and 100. Product means times. 45 times 100. Now this one, there's lots of different ways you can do this. If I do what I call the moving method, what I'll actually do is, I don't know if this will work, let's see. No, it's not going to work. I'm just going to take this 45 and make it 2 places bigger. So I'll do it in a different colour. 45 has units and tens at the moment. Times it by 100, it's going to get 2 places bigger. So drag the whole thing over because I'm going to go to the left because that's the big where things get big. 2 places bigger, which means I'm going to need 2 more places. I'm going to need the hundreds and I'm going to need the thousands because 2 zeros means you're going to make things 2 places bigger. So the 4, this would be the same place, so I don't put it there. This would be 1 place bigger, so I don't put it there. This would be 2 places bigger. And the 5, instead of being there, which is the same, 2 places bigger. Fill in any gaps underneath with zeros. So 45 times 100 is 4,500. Another way of doing it is with times tables in disguise. 45 times 1 is 45, and place 2 zeros. 45 and place 2 zeros. These get harder as you move into year 5, and maybe we'll start a bit of decimals on these in year 4. Some of you will just be thinking you just place 2 zeros on, but as you're going to find out, that doesn't always work. So you can use this method here, which is called the moving method. You just move everything 2 places bigger because of these 2 zeros on the 100. Let's do question 10. This is just addition, and it's for money again, because we're doing quite a bit of money now towards the end of year 4. Which is your introduction to decimals, these decimal points here. Although, of course, I know loads of you have done the year 5 work anyway, and you might understand decimals already. So we'll do this addition. Looks right, 11.20, and in this case money, so we'll say £11.20. 7 and a bit plus 3 and a bit ends up being £11.20. Okay? And we're going to year 5. Question 11. This is a good little place value question, I think, here. We can do this in our heads because 9,257 take away 250. So the hats that we have here is the units, tens, and hundreds. So the units, the tens and hundreds have something in it. It's this 2 and the 5 from here. What's been taken off to leave the 2 and the 5 because it's units? They're in the same columns, units, tens and hundreds, and then thousands. Excuse the mess, but they're my hats. What's been taken off is the 9,000 and the 7 units. 9,007, literally 9,007. So I think that 9,007 goes in there. You don't have to do workings because you're taking the 9 and the 7, putting them there. You've already got the 2 and the 5 there, worth 250. Let's see if this makes sense. If you had 9,257, you take off the 9,000, you take off the 7, but you leave these columns the same, they're worth 25 tens or 250. That's right. So the answer is 9,007. That goes in the missing box. And we're on question 12. Question 12. 45 times 32. Let's do long multiplication. If you know what you're doing on this, the idea is you get them right every single time. That's the first challenge. When you're getting them right every single time, then you start getting your speed up. You could get very fast on these in the end. But for year 5, I'd be very happy if you can just solve these long multiplications. So I did 2 times 45, and for some reason I put 80, but it's actually 90. 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is 90, there we go. So I've just done 2 times 45 and written it in there. Now I'm going to do 30 times 45, because this 3 is in the tens column, and it's really worth 30. I'm going to do that in a different colour for no particular reason. I'll place a 0 because it's the tens, and then I can pretend it's just 3, even though it's not. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Don't need that anymore, or that. So we just add up our 2 answers at the end. 0 plus 0. 9 plus 5 is 14. 4, 1. 1,440. 1,440. And we're on question 13. Pause if you need time to copy that. Difference. Very good word to know in maths. Difference is going to mean take away. 6.7 and 8. Which number's bigger? 8 is bigger than 6 and a bit. So 8 goes on the top. Let's give it a decimal place as well. Otherwise it'll be jealous on 6.7 with its decimal place. But 8 is bigger, isn't it, than 6 and a bit. Biggest number on the top. Year 3 had a challenging one of those today, where they had to make sure the biggest number was on the top. So we'll do 0 take away 7 is not 7. 0 take away 7 is not 0. You have to do the borrowing. 10 take away 7 is 3. 7 take away 6, 1. 1.3. That looks right. 8 take away 6 and a bit is 1 and a bit. Remember fractions and decimals, which come after this decimal point, they are just bits of a whole. They're just bits instead of whole ones. And we're on question 14. Share means divide. Share means divide. Share 6.84 between 6. We don't often divide by 6 on here. Share 6.84 between 6. I think it's about time we did some 2-digit division again tomorrow. But today it's just 1-digit division, dividing by this 1-digit number. So let's do this. How many 6s in 6? Well, 1, because 6 is 6. Don't forget the decimal point, it just lines up. How many 6s in 8? 1. 1 6 is 6, but that says 8. So I count up 7, 8, 2 remainder. And a nice 24, which is, you probably know why that's a nice number, because it's in a 6 times table. 6 and 12, 18 and 24. If you could see my fingers, I would have 4 of them. 1.14. 6.84 divided by 6 is 1.14. Question 15. Question 15. 9.78 plus 22. Oh, there's a lot of decimals on this one. 0.344. Just be careful of your lining up. Decimal point lines up on addition and subtraction and division. Might not on multiplication. So let's do the add-in. You could place a 0 here if you want. A light pink 0 there. 4, 12, 11, 12. Oh, I did that a bit quick. Is that right? 12 carry the 1. That makes it 11. Carry the 1. 9 plus 2 is 11 plus 1 is 12. 3, yeah. Well, that's not right yet, is it? One very little but very important thing. 32.124. 32.124. And it's time for year 6. Question 16. So year 6, I've been watching children do this every day, and I'm going to go a bit faster now. I'm not going to explain things as much. I'm just going to go quickly now through year 6. 0.04 divided by 1,000. I'm going to do moving method for this. Divided by 1,000, 3 places smaller. So 1, 2, 3. This will be absolutely tiny. More decimal places than you normally need in primary school. 0.00004. 0.00004. 3 places smaller. Wow, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decimal places. Question 17. 1/9 of 3. Find 1/9 of 3. Okay, that is 3 divided by 9, which is not going to work with that decimal. So I'm going to go 3.00 divided by 9. Line up the decimal point. How many 9s in 3? Doesn't fit, carry the 3. How many 9s in 30? 9, 18, 27, 3. Remainder 3. How many 9s in 30? 3. Remainder 3. I need another 0. How many 9s in 30? 3. Remainder 3. I need another 0. How many 9s in 30? 3. Remainder 3. This is going to go on forever. It's 0.33 recurring, which means 0.33 will just keep going on. 0.33 recurring we could write. That is your answer, 0.33. It's actually the same as 1/3 if it was a fraction, but it's not in this case, it's a decimal. Question 18. I wonder if you're racing me on this. I'm going to do this quite fast today. Hope I don't mess it up. You need to be careful. 5 times 9, 45. 14, 16, 36, 11, 13, cross out the little ones, 5, 8, 4, 1. 14,805. What's that? Question 18. 14,805. Yeah, I got that right. I was rushing, so I'm not so confident. I'm more confident when I go a bit slower. But that's right. And we're on question 19. Pause if you need some time on that one. Question 19. Total means plus, usually in maths. 0.89. 45.7. I'll put the biggest number on the top, but it doesn't matter in plus. 45.7. Let's add those. 9, 15, decimal point. 46.59. 45 and a bit plus a bit, 46.59. And we're on question 20. 7.5 is something more than 3.8. To find this, you're looking for the difference between them. And you actually need to do a minus to find this difference. If we did a minus and it didn't make sense, we'd try a plus instead. Because it's going to be plus or minus, because more is plus. It's going to be plus or minus to find this answer. So with the minus, I do the borrowing. 15 take away 8, 7, and it's 3.7. But do see if that makes sense, which it does. 7.5 is 3.7 more than 3.8. Yes, it is more than 3.8. It's 3.7 more than it. Time for the answers. 3.7 and all of the rest of them. So pause that here to do your marking or to your checking, see how you did. Year 6, I'm going to slowly get faster and faster every day, if that makes sense. Because I think Year 6 are doing pretty well now, just for the last few weeks. We'll see if we can get really quick. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.